How long do you think you could survive completely alone? Not alone in your apartment, not alone with a phone, a supermarket, a hospital, and a police station somewhere nearby. I mean truly alone. No house, no electricity, no medicine, no one to call, no one bringing you food, and no one coming if you get hurt. Maybe you think you could manage for a few days, maybe even a few weeks. But now imagine doing it in a world where every meal has to be found, every night has to be survived, and one serious injury could completely change your ability to take care of yourself. That was the world our ancestors lived in. And here's the strange part. Humans were never especially good at surviving alone. We weren't the fastest animals. We weren't the strongest. We didn't have claws. We didn't have fangs. We couldn't outrun most dangerous predators. Yet somehow, humans spread across almost every environment on Earth. So what was our advantage? It may have been something much less obvious than strength. Other humans. Imagine you're living thousands of years ago. You wake up in the morning and something feels wrong. Your ankle hurts. Maybe you stepped badly while moving across rocky ground the day before. At first, it doesn't seem serious. You can still walk. But slowly, the pain gets worse. Now imagine trying to survive the day alone. You still need water, you still need food, you still need firewood, you still need to find shelter before night, and every one of those tasks requires movement. Today, a twisted ankle is an inconvenience. You rest it, you buy medicine, you order food, maybe you call a doctor. Your entire environment is designed to keep you alive while you're temporarily helpless. But remove all of that, and the meaning of an injury changes completely. The injury itself doesn't have to kill you. The problem is what happens afterward. You can't travel as far. You can't carry as much. You can't hunt as effectively. You may not be able to gather enough food. And if you're injured badly enough, you may not even be able to protect yourself. This is where living in a group becomes incredibly powerful. If you were hurt, someone else could move. Someone else could gather food. Someone else could bring water. Someone could stay nearby. You could survive a period when you were unable to fully provide for yourself. And there is archaeological evidence that humans in the past sometimes survived serious injuries long enough for bones to heal, suggesting that care and support within communities could matter enormously. Think about how strange that is. Your survival could depend on people doing something that gave them no immediate meal. They had to help you today, because tomorrow they might be the one who needed help. And that idea becomes even more important when the danger isn't an injury. It's watching you from the darkness. Imagine you're walking alone through an ancient landscape. You hear something. You stop. Nothing. You keep walking. Then you hear it again. Leaves moving. A branch breaking. You look toward the trees. And somewhere beyond them, something is watching. A leopard doesn't care how intelligent you are. A large predator doesn't care that humans eventually built cities. It sees a vulnerable animal, alone. And that is the problem. One human is relatively easy to isolate. A group is different. Several people can see in different directions. They can make noise. They can gather around the vulnerable. They can use fire. They can throw stones or wield simple weapons. They can make themselves look much more dangerous than one individual would. Researchers studying human evolution have proposed that pressure from large predators may have favored forms of cooperative defense among early hominins. Even our closest living relatives show forms of group defense against predators. In other words, sometimes the safest place in a dangerous world wasn't the strongest place. It was the place where you weren't alone. And then there was an even bigger problem: food. Because hunting and gathering isn't like going to a grocery store. You can spend hours searching and find almost nothing. You can follow an animal and lose it. You can find a plant and discover that there isn't enough. You can take a huge risk and come home empty-handed. Now imagine depending entirely on your own success. If you find food, you eat. If you fail, you go hungry. But a group can change the mathematics. One person might fail, another might succeed. One person finds roots, another catches something, someone else gathers fruit. And when food is shared, one person's bad day doesn't automatically become a disaster for everyone. This is one of the remarkable things about human food systems. Human foragers have historically shared food extensively, and researchers have argued that cooperation, food sharing, and division of labor helped humans deal with the enormous demands of getting enough food. You could fail today and still eat because someone else succeeded. And that creates something incredibly powerful. A group can survive uncertainty better than an individual. Think about what that means. If everyone has to succeed every single day, the group is fragile. But if people can compensate for one another, the group becomes much more resilient. One person gets injured, someone helps. One person finds food, they share. A predator appears, everyone responds. A child needs protection, several adults can provide it. An older person knows where water is. Their knowledge remains valuable even if they can't hunt like a younger adult. The group isn't just a collection of individuals. It becomes a survival system. And this may be one of the most important things about being human. Our ancestors didn't have to be individually perfect. They could survive because different people could do different things. The fast person could run. The experienced person could track. The strong person could carry. The skilled person could make tools. Someone could watch the children. Someone could maintain the fire. Someone could remember where water was found months earlier. And someone else could simply be there when another person was having the worst day of their life. That last part is easy to underestimate, because survival isn't only about finding food. It's also about surviving periods when you can't contribute as much. Humans have unusually long childhoods compared with many mammals. Children take years to become independent. That means somebody has to feed them, protect them, teach them, watch them, and keep them alive long before they can fully repay that investment. Cooperative childcare and food sharing are important features of human societies, and researchers have argued that these forms of cooperation were deeply connected to human evolution. So cooperation wasn't just useful for one emergency. It could operate across an entire lifetime. And here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Imagine two humans living in the same dangerous landscape. One believes, I only need to worry about myself. The other lives by a different rule. If something happens to you today, I may help you. And if something happens to me tomorrow, you may help me. That second strategy creates something much bigger than friendship. It creates trust. And once trust exists, people can do things isolated humans simply cannot do as efficiently. They can share food, coordinate hunts, defend one another, care for injured people, teach children, pass information between generations, and build knowledge that no single person could create alone. Human cooperation became so important that it may be better to think of it as a technology. Not a technology made of metal, a technology made of relationships. And perhaps that's the real answer to the title. Why couldn't ancient humans survive alone? Because the human body wasn't our only survival tool. Our social world was part of the toolkit. A spear could help you hunt. Fire could help protect you. But another human could do something even more important. They could help when you couldn't help yourself. And that ability changes everything. Today, most of us rarely notice how dependent we are on other people. If you break your leg, there is a hospital. If you're hungry, there is a store. If you're lost, there is GPS. If you're sick, there is medicine. If something goes wrong, there is usually someone to call. We live surrounded by invisible layers of cooperation. But our ancestors had a much simpler version. A person, a group, a fire, a shared meal, a helping hand. And maybe that's why the image of the lone prehistoric human is misleading. We imagine one person walking through the wilderness, carrying a weapon, fighting nature alone. But that may be the opposite of what made humans successful. The real human story was never just about the strongest individual. It was about what individuals could accomplish together. One person could get injured. The group could keep them alive. One person could fail to find food. Someone else could share. One person could face a predator. The group could become the threat. And one person could forget, but a community could remember. That may be one of the greatest secrets hidden in human evolution. We didn't conquer a dangerous world because every human became unstoppable. We survived because we became difficult to separate. And the next time you think about what makes humans powerful, don't just think about our brains. Don't just think about our hands. Don't just think about our tools. Think about the person standing beside us. Because for hundreds of thousands of years, that person may have been the difference between a bad day and the end of your story. We didn't survive because we could do everything alone. We survived because when one of us couldn't, someone else could.